Hi, how's it going? This is Resident of Collinwood for YouTube, back with a Dark Shadows video for you guys and gals. Finally, gonna get back on course here for the DS videos. Um, so this is a character retrospective. I've been doing character retrospectives from the three Dark Shadows movies. I've also been doing episodes for the original series, so I'm gonna continue those today and try to get a bunch of videos up for you guys this week. So this is a character retrospective about Maggie Evans / Victoria Winters from the 2012 Tim Burton Dark Shadows movie. There's a lot of comparison to get to, so I'm going to get into this. So in Tim Burton's movie, Maggie Evans / Victoria Winters is played by Bella Heathcote, who does a great job. I got to give her a lot of credit. She's probably the best well-written character outside of Angelique and Michelle Pfeiffer's character in this entire movie. Now, do they take things from the two previous incarnations, meaning the Maggie Evans from the original series, or Victoria, or Maggie Evans from the original series, which was played by Catherine Lee Scott, or Alexander Moltke's Victoria Winters? Or do they take anything, or even yet, do they take anything from Joanna Goings' Victoria Winters? Yes, they do. This Victoria Winters can see and speak and directly communicate with ghosts. Now you might say, well, wait, Victoria Winters never directly communicated with ghosts. She sort of did, not necessarily. In the original series, there are moments where Victoria Winters is being reached out to by Josette. There's a moment where she's with Frank Gardner and she smells jasmine. And you have, she says, Josette, like Josette's trying to guide her to the cemetery. And so she does. The smell of jasmine does this. Victoria Winters even says, Josette wanted us to come here. And also, Josette saves Victoria Winters' life when she's kidnapped by Matthew Morgan. No, not Burt Devlin, not Roger Collins. Josette. She sees Josette, really. It's her first time literally seeing that character physically, and it's awesome. The character also spoke through Victoria Winters in a seance. Now, was this an ongoing thing in the entire series? No. Now they don't get into the whole. Tim Burton's Dark Shadows does not get into the whole. She's related to the Collins family, so that we don't really have to mention, because I feel mentioning it here would just be crazy. But I'll do a whole nother video on that subject sometime. Do they take anything from Catherine Lee Scott's Maggie Evans? Other than the name, no. I gotta say that they're not really, for whatever reason, they're not really taking anything from a character standpoint. A lot of this, it's weird because in every way, she is more of a Winters than an Evans. And what I mean by that is, again, because this isn't exactly the Maggie Evans from the OG series or really the revival series. That Maggie Evans was sleeping around with Roger Collins, and in the revival, stress that. This Maggie Evans, the only thing we really know about her parents is that they had her committed and they wanted her to be committed. They look, I don't know what the 70s were like, the late 60s, early 70s. That was well before my time. Um, could I see parents trying to commit their kid for saying, "Hey, I'm talking to ghosts"? Because I don't. First of all, yeah, I could, but I also don't. From what I gather in this movie and what I gather from Maggie Evans slash Victoria Winters in this movie is Josette was not the only ghost. Most likely, she was talking to. Though we see Josette a lot, we see Josette point to her where to go. Hey, this Collins family, they're hiring. You should go there. So she does. She gets on the train and goes. I take it. I take it. Maggie Evans slash Victoria Winters had some money and some clothes, so she goes to Collinwood. So no one. Here's where the differences come into. We don't know. Again, I've talked about we don't know much about her parents. We knew a lot about. We found out a lot about Sam Evans in the OG series, and we found out enough about him in the revival. Again, none of that's really being transferred here into this movie. You're not getting a complete back. You're not getting this big backstory of the Evanses. You get just enough to know who this girl is and why she's getting away from them, which is smart. You don't want to. Again, it's a really well written character, and I do like how they switch up transition from Maggie Evans to Victoria Winters. My name is Winters, Victoria Winters. It makes sense. Nobody's checking a driver's license in 1971, especially the Collins family. They're just looking to hire their kid, or sorry, looking to hire a tutor and a governess for their kid, David, or Roger's kid, David. It's somebody's kid. No, it's Roger's. Especially in this movie. Are there other things they take from the series? Here's the thing: the revival sort of did take from the original series a bit with Joanna Goins and Victoria Lynch. You might say, what do I mean by that? Um, Joanna Goins as Victoria Winters was the reincarnation of Josette. Now, they don't. I want to be very clear because this is a line you have to watch when you're talking about it. Um, in the original series, no, Victoria Winters isn't the reincarnation of Josette. Now, she dresses up in Josette's dress. She has a very close relationship with the ghost of Josette. Um, so much. Okay, the only other person, according to Elizabeth in the original series, that the only people that Josette tends to protect are members of the Collins family. And here's Josette who has protected Victoria Winters. Why? That's sort of the question that lingers with DS. The easiest answer is Victoria Winters is a Collins. So there's that. Um, they, but again, they're not. I want to be real clear. They're not getting into necessarily that within this movie. Maggie Evans slash Victoria Winters is not a Collins in this family. You might say, well, is she the reincarnation of Josette? Yeah, that's what they're going for sure. I do want to be clear with that. But this woman, again, because we don't know a lot of backstory about the Evanses in this movie, other than they try to have their own daughter committed, is that is their daughter. So she was born of a husband and a wife, conceiving at some point, and then here she is. And she just so happens to look exactly like Josette. So they're going for the reincarnation angle here in this movie. like they did in the 91 revival. Again, they take things from both series. If you wanted proof that Tim Burton and Johnny Depp were actually Dark Shadows fans, look no further than the Victorian Winners. They were. As much as I rag on this movie and talk about it, I can't say Tim Burton and Johnny Depp weren't Dark Shadows fans. They were. Just things got messed up in this movie. We'll say. Sorry. Now, so Maggie Evans, Victoria Winters, comes to Collinwood. Again, she's not summoned by Elizabeth. She's just replying to an ad in the newspaper, and well, she gets the job, and she finds out that David believes in ghosts too, but he likes to dress up as ghosts and scare people. Is this the David from the original series? Nope. Is this the David from the revival? A little bit, but not much. There's a little bit of teasing there about, him dressing up like a ghost. There's no point, there's no. This David is not removing his dad's bleeder valve from his car, though if he did, nobody would have gave a shit. Would have cheered him on. Um, sorry. I had this cough for a while, can't get rid of it. He's not slipping animals into Victoria Winter's bed, not that ever happened. He's not really. He doesn't really. There isn't this big tension between David and Vicky. Really, they don't really get enough. There's not enough of just solely Victoria Winters and David Collins in this movie. You do get David and you do get Vicky, Maggie / Vicky and Carolyn in this movie. For all intents and purposes, she's a normal girl. Other than being able to see and speak with ghosts, she's normal. David's aunt Elizabeth, who's played by Michelle Pfeiffer in this movie, talks about how David's a very strange boy, and I'm a very strange kid myself. She says about it's okay if you talk to, other people. It's called having an imaginary friend, and Elizabeth seems to frown upon this. So there is some sort of underlying basis. It's not just an imaginary friend. He's talking to his mother. His mother's been dead. That's the premise they're worried about, and I think what you sort of get from Bella Heathcote's facial expression in all this is that she's wondering if, though it was Josette's ghost that brought her here, she's also, you sort of get, and I love Bella Heathcote for this. She does sell this with her face. She's sort of wondering, okay, with David's mother being dead, is she around here? She doesn't say it, but the look on her face, she's sort of wondering it. And I do like that facial selling. At least in my opinion, it's there. Um, do I like the character? I like how the character's written until the second act. Um, again, what this film lacks most from its characters isn't necessarily from the actors. It's how the movie is written and how it's often executed that comes across very poor. I just told you that there's not a big backstory of the Evanses, of Maggie's, mother and father. Okay, there's no other than Angelique saying she's going to, make the woman that looks like Josette jump off a cliff. We don't see any actual spell casting to make that happen. There's no scene of her putting her under a spell. Sure, if you wanted to save time, you could say, "Oh, that just happens." But here's the thing: it's a lot of time. There's just moments in this movie where Victoria Winters is nowhere to be around. Is there an excuse for this? Yeah, yeah, and I hate to say it. Yeah, I hate to look. You guys know my feelings about this movie. I don't particularly like it, but I'm not going to be unfair to it. Okay, there's a moment where Barnabas is revealed as a vampire. Elizabeth knows for sure. But when Victoria Winters finds out, when, Maggie Evans slash Victoria Winters finds out, because he saves David, he moves so fast, she goes, "You're a vampire." And so she just, after that, you just really don't see her. So you could say she just ran away. And here's the thing, is that unfitting to this character in this movie? No, it's not. That's exactly what she did. And it's just how it's how her journey started, really. She ran away from home. So, or, she escaped an institution. Either way, she still ran away. So the character running away isn't uncharacteristic within the frame of this movie. Unfortunately, we just don't actually see her the rest of the movie. So it's sort of a debate. Does she just run away, or does she run away so far and runs into Angelique? Most likely she runs into Angelique because of what happens later, but we just don't see that actually happen within the frame of this movie. Um, Tim Burton, ladies. Sorry. Um, so yeah, it's a real weird thing that happens in this movie. Again, I want to be clear. Is it uncharacteristic of this Maggie Evans slash Victoria Winters to run away? No. That again, from her journey standpoint, that's where her journey sort of starts. She's running away from her parents, the people who, the fact that she was committed. She's running away from that. She would run away from that. Okay, well, you can make the case that she's just running away from finding out Barnabas is a vampire. You might say, well, wait, she knows she talks to ghosts. Why is a vampire such a big leap? I don't know. It would be a big leap for me if I went from talking to a ghost to finding out I was living with a vampire this entire time. And this man, by the way, this is a man she kissed. This is a man she's in love with. So the realization of, oh my God, am I just here to be? Am I really She's probably thinking in her mind, and you could sort of tell that before the runaway happened, before the character disappears happens. God, am I really here to just be this man's wife? Am I really just Victoria, or sorry, am I really just Josette made all over again? Is this my fate or destiny? And that's sort of, I like that aspect, but here's the thing. Instead of just having her completely disappear from this movie, have a scene where she's by herself and she wonders it and you see it, and then she gets kidnapped by Angelique. Give that sense of danger. Again, that's something they don't show in this movie, and they damn well could have. It's what makes this movie so frustrating to talk about, because it's like there's things they could have easily did to help you, like these characters a lot more, because I do like Bella Heathcote's Maggie Evans slash Victoria Winters. It's just there's things they don't show, and you go, why? I mean, look, I buy the character running away from Collinwood because of Barnabas. I buy that because this woman ran away from home slash, being committed because she was misunderstood, because they committed her because she talked to ghosts. Now she's running away because she's not. She's scared to find out she is just a reincarnation of Josette, and she's in love with a vampire. It makes sense. But again, after she disappears here, after she just runs off, they don't show her afterwards. Again, could you just chalk it up to I could understand if the studio's consensus is, hey, you already showed me this girl ran away once. Do I really need to see it on a second attempt? I guess, but in the same sense, it helps me understand where this woman went for that entire time, because you never see this character until near the end of the fucking movie. And trust me, when you go watch this movie, if you haven't already, that's a long goddamn time. Um, if I find the 2012 movie, I'm going to leave a link in the description box. If I find it. I'm sure it's out there somewhere. Um, That's it. That's all I got. She gets she goes off Widow's Hill because she's under a spell. Maggie Evans slash Victoria Winters, and Barnabas dives. He bites her, and she wakes up a vampire. And she says, and she says she's Josette. So eh, that's the end of that movie. Yeah, you heard me. You heard me. Even though, by the way, Angelique has been vanquished by this time, so who knows why the spell is still going on. But is Angelique ever really dead? Hmm. All right, guys, have a good day and take care. God bless.